beside all that, this is my neighborhood, downtown New York City. I grew up here and feel at home in these streets. I feel comfortable. The Twin Towers fell just over here, just over there. This part of the city was like a ghost town, but we vowed we would not allow terrorists to change our way of life. And we started the Tribeca Festival to bring people back. I love this city. I love this city. I don't want to destroy it. Donald Trump wants to destroy not only the city, but the country, and eventually he could destroy the world.
I had such big hopes for a better new year. I really felt like, well, how could it get worse in 2025? It can't. And now, we're only 2 weeks into it, all hell is broken loose. If this was Jenga, there'd be blocks of wood all over the house. So far, in half a month, Trump...
Here are some of the highlights. Special Counsel Jack Smith began with an opening statement where he talks about why he stands by his decision as special counsel to bring the charges that he did against Donald Trump, and if he had the opportunity to do it again, whether it was against a Democrat or a Republican.
There comes a point when silence stops being safe, when staying quiet turns into surrender, a moment when speaking up becomes the only option left. That moment arrived on September 23, 2025, when Jimmy Kimmel returned to television after being forced off the air under pressure from the Trump administration. And this time, he didn't stand alone.
No, I like what Newsom has done because he's trolled him and he's fought fire with fire, and that's what you have to do. And he called him an invasive species, which is what he is. So he's not. He's a thing that doesn't understand. Trump does not understand anything about humanity, people. He has no empathy. I don't know what he is, but he's an alien, and he wants to hurt this country. It's something deeply psychological in him. He wants to hurt people. He wants to hurt this country. He doesn't care. And what saddens me the most, upsets me the most, is that people follow him.
Some very serious stuff going on, not just here, all around the world, and yet I cannot help but to stop everything when there are monkeys on the loose. Not here, you can relax. The loose monkeys have been spotted in and around St. Louis.
Who engaged in the same conduct. He would do it again because crimes were committed by Donald Trump. Here, play this clip.
As I testify before the committee today, I want to be clear. I stand by my decisions as special counsel, including the decision to bring charges against President Trump.
Standing beside him was Robert De Niro, one of Hollywood's most respected actors and one of Trump's fiercest critics for over a decade. But De Niro didn't walk out as himself. He appeared as a mob boss version of Trump's FCC chairman, turning what looked like comedy into something far more dangerous for those in power.
On social media by our former president, Donald Trump.
Yeah.
We have, I think this might have been the first time he wrote about you. Robert De Niro, a very low IQ individual, has received he spelled two wrong, many shots to the head by real boxers in movies. I watched him last night, truly believe he may be punch drunk, and then he says, at the end, he says, "Wake up, Punchy," he says to you.
Hey everybody, we're back here with Robert De Niro. It's so great to have you on, always wonderful to talk to you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Another great movie recently, Joker, where you play a talk show host.
Yes.
Of a late night talk show.
Yes.
Not so easy, is it, tough guy, right? Yeah, what did you make of that, when you played the character? What did you make of the gig?
Well, I always thought about you.
Our investigation developed proof beyond a reasonable doubt that President Trump engaged in criminal activity. If asked whether to prosecute a former president based on the same facts today, I would do so regardless of whether that president was a Democrat or a Republican.
The episode shattered records. Over 6.2 million viewers tuned in live, making it the most watched Jimmy Kimmel Live episode ever, while more than 15 million people watched online within a single day. But the real impact wasn't in the numbers. It was in what that night exposed about power, fear and censorship in America.
Toppled Venezuela, he's threatening to forcibly gobble up Greenland, and he may be about to send armed troops into the city of Minneapolis, right here in the United States. Our FIFA Peace Prize winning president posted this morning, if the corrupt politicians of Minnesota don't obey the law and stop,
Holy cow, Robert De Niro. This is why you have one of these shows. This is why you want this show, is to talk with Robert De Niro.
No one should be above the law in this country, and the law required that he be held to account, so that is what I did. To have done otherwise on the facts of these cases would have been to shirk my duties as a prosecutor.
Because this wasn't just a late-night segment, it was a warning shot about the future of free speech. To understand why this moment hit so hard, you have to look at what happened just days earlier, when a few words triggered a massive overreaction from the highest levels of government.
That kind of logic, they want to fuck with people, screw them, because they're unhappy about something. He's such a mean, nasty, hateful person. I never play him as an actor because I can't see any good in him. Nothing at all. Nothing redeemable in him.
or have they? This is a weird story. Yesterday, we learned that a troop of vervet monkeys were seen at a park in other parts of northern St. Louis. But as word spread and the local authorities there began to investigate, a flood of photos and videos started to appear online.
And as a public servant, of which I had no intention of doing.
Now, the MAGA Republicans prevented Special Counsel Jack Smith from talking about the Mar-a-Lago document case where Donald Trump concealed highly sensitive classified information at Mar-a-Lago.
On September 15th, 2025, Jimmy Kimmel criticized political figures for exploiting the murder of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. He directly called out J.D. Vance and Eric Trump for spreading misinformation and turning tragedy into political theater.
Give him a chance. Why won't you give the president a chance, Robert De Niro?
No, you're right. That's what I said right after he was elected. Give him a chance. I give everybody the benefit of the doubt. This guy has proven himself to be a total loser. Look at the lame, inane things that he said. He's so stupid, he can't even say anything clever or smooth. He's a moron.
Which at first seemed like real photographs, but then the monkeys were wearing Cardinals jerseys and face paint to the point where Animal Control didn't know what was real and what was fake. Now, this is video of one of the escapees, or at least it appears to be video of one of the escapees.
Because Judge Eileen Cannon is refusing to unseal the records, and the DOJ said that if Jack Smith talks about it any more than just like basic, here's what I did, without getting into any of the details, that she would prosecute him. So here's what Jack Smith says about the Mar-a-Lago document case.
2 days later, Trump's FCC chairman, Brendan Carr, appeared on conservative media and publicly attacked Kimmel's comments, calling them unacceptable. He didn't stop there. He openly warned ABC and Disney that action needed to be taken, or consequences would follow.
The professional agitators and insurrectionists from attacking the patriots of ICE who are only trying to do their job. I will institute the Insurrection Act, which many presidents have done before me, and quickly put an end to the travesty that is taking place in that once great state. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President DJT.
An inference. And his gang grovels and follows his obvious order. It's no surprise that the murder rate and other violent crimes peaked under Trump and are falling under Biden. And now he's promising to use our own military to attack U.S. citizens. That's the tyrant.
Rather than accept his defeat in the 2020 election, President Trump engaged in a criminal scheme to overturn the results and prevent the lawful transfer of power. After leaving office in January of 21, President Trump illegally kept classified documents at his Mar-a-Lago social club.
Those consequences were serious. Broadcast licenses worth hundreds of millions of dollars were suddenly on the line. Within hours, ABC pulled Jimmy Kimmel Live off the air indefinitely. 6 days of silence, not because of ratings or content standards, but because government pressure worked.
No kidding, President DGT. As if anyone else would write that. The Insurrection Act would allow President Trump to send troops into Minneapolis to stop the civil unrest that started when President Trump sent ICE into Minneapolis to start the civil unrest. But
His former Chief of Staff, General Kelly, reminded us that Trump admires Hitler and ridicules our American troops who died for us. He mumbles, he stumbles, and blubbers on, exhibiting clear signs of dementia. He promoted the Project 2025 agenda. That's all in 1 week. All in 1 week. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris has plans, real plans, not concepts of plans.
And repeatedly tried to obstruct justice to conceal his continued retention of those documents. Highly sensitive national security information was held in a ballroom and a bathroom.
Then Special Counsel Jack Smith says, I just want to let everybody know, I'm not going to be intimidated.
Trump celebrated publicly, mocking Kimmel and declaring it great news for America. For most critics, that would have been the end of the story. Silence sends a message. Cross the line and you pay. But Jimmy Kimmel chose a different response.
nomination.
No, that's when I found out I had won.
Oh, you weren't at the show?
No,
Oh, you got, wow, you know what, that's big time. That's when you know you're a real movie star, when you don't even go and you win. Were you there the second time you won?
Yes.
You were there in person.
Yeah.
Were you at all dreading winning because you knew you would have to make a speech?
No, I didn't. What we have here is a denial of truth all over the place. And even the speech that he made after is insane. It's just insane, and I'm very, very concerned about it. I think we all are. It's insane. So that's why I felt I had to do something, say something about it, to go on record.
President Trump shared that playbook on social media for everyone to see. He wrote, "If you go after me, I'm coming for you." Trump has said that you, Mr. Smith, should be investigated and put in prison. He called you a disgrace to humanity, a radical left Marxist, a criminal. In fact, Trump has used the word.
On September 23rd, Kimmel returned. After delivering an emotional monologue defending free speech, he announced that FCC Chairman Brendan Carr would be joining the show live. The room froze. Was this a surrender? A truce?
And hold on to our humanity is to vote for Joe Biden for president. Really. We don't have a choice. On January 6th, while Republican lawmakers despicably tried to keep the loser Trump, in the White House, and Trump-inspired insurrectionists stormed the Capitol, brave men and women from law enforcement put their lives on the line to defend this country.
Well, honestly, we have no idea if that is real or AI. What do you think, Guillermo?
I think it's real.
I think it's real too, but for the first time ever, we are not sure whether that's a real monkey or not. It became so confusing that the St. Louis Department of Health had to ask residents to please knock it off with all the fake monkey photos.
By Donald Trump. I am not going to be intimidated by these threats. I am someone of high integrity, and they could threaten me all they want. I'm not backing down.
Those people who try to hold him accountable. In August 2023, right after your office indicted him.
Instead, Robert De Niro walked out, fully committed to the role of a mafia-style FCC boss. The audience instantly understood the message. This wasn't parody for laughs. It was exposure, a mirror held up to how power really operates.
Use a teleprompter when speaking about President Trump? Or are you able to just kind of riff on your thoughts on him?
Yeah, he's so stupid. Can live with themselves after what they've allowed him to do and not stood up. Even walk out of the room when what they did with Zelensky the first time. Rubio, looking at his face, they got the camera on him. If he had balls, he would have walked out.
Deranged Jack Smith 185 times on Truth Social. How do you think that these statements have impacted you, your staff, and your investigation?
With respect to me, I think the statements are meant to intimidate me. I will not be intimidated.
Drawing from iconic mob roles, De Niro portrayed authority as intimidation wrapped in smiles, threats disguised as suggestions, loyalty rewarded, criticism punished. The joke worked because it wasn't exaggeration, it was familiar.
Look at the lame, inane things that he said. He's so stupid, he can't even say anything clever or smooth. He's a moron. But he's a scary one.
Somehow, he even got self-styled patriots to support a man who called for terminating the Constitution, and on January 6th, rallied an angry mob to threaten democracy, leaving death and destruction in its wake.
I think these statements are also made as a warning to others what will happen if they stand up. And I am, as I say, I'm not going to be intimidated. We did our work pursuant to department policy. We followed the facts and we followed the law, and that process.
When Kimmel warned him about FCC fines, De Niro exploded, declaring himself untouchable. The crowd laughed, but the truth landed hard. That's how censorship works now, not through laws, but through fear of consequences.
I don't know. I guess you do have to look at it from his perspective. I mean, Trump, poor guy, he hasn't been able to get an insurrection for years. At this point, an insurrection might be the only way he can get an outsurrection.
But it's a coward's violence. You think Trump ever threw a punch himself or took one? This guy who ran and hid in the White House bunker when there were protesters outside? No way. He doesn't get blood on his hands. No, he doesn't. He directs the mob to do his dirty work for him by making a suggestion.
Resulted in proof beyond a reasonable doubt that he committed serious crimes. I'm not going to pretend that didn't happen because he's threatening me.
More from Special Counsel Jack Smith here, and he talks about how Donald Trump pardoning or granting clemency to these January 6th insurrectionists.
De Niro laid it out plainly. Praise the president and it costs nothing. Mock him, question him, criticize him, and suddenly there's a price. That wasn't satire. It was exactly what had already happened to Kimmel.
Were you guys having a hard time figuring out where the monkeys were because of all the AI Photoshop photos?
We did receive a tremendous amount of information from the community, but it was a challenge verifying the authenticity of some of that information.
Are we 100% sure the monkeys are real?
We have had one verified sighting.
He's a pig, he's a con, a bullshit artist, a mutt who doesn't know what he's talking about, doesn't do his homework, doesn't care, thinks he's gaming society, doesn't pay his taxes. He's an idiot. Colin Powell said it best. He's a national disaster. He's an embarrassment to this country. It makes me so angry that this country has gotten to the...
It was obvious that these people were going to commit more crimes. They're criminals. They're bad people. And so Jack Smith says it's reasonable to believe that they'll commit more crimes, and they already are. Here, play this clip.
As a prosecutor, can you describe why these pardons make our communities less safe and undermine our criminal legal system more broadly?
Despite nearly 20% of the country being unable to watch due to major broadcasters refusing to air the episode, the show still broke every record. The New York Times called it unprecedented, especially without major sports lead-ins.
That's why I needed to be involved and wanted to be involved in the new Biden-Harris ad because it shows the violence of Trump and reminds us that he'll use violence against anyone who stands in the way of his megalomania and greed.
A good president right now, a normal president, will be looking for a way to de-escalate the situation, but not our Donald. He turns the temperature up on everything but his wife. He keeps claiming the protesters are paid, although they never say by who.
The people who assaulted police officers and were convicted after trial, in my view, and I think in the view of the judges who sentenced them to prison, are dangers to their community. As you've mentioned, some of these people have already...
Across social media, the monologue and sketch pulled in over 26 million views in under 24 hours, 15 million on YouTube alone. Proof that silencing criticism doesn't erase it, it amplifies it. And that night will be remembered as the moment fear lost its grip.